Cherokees had an island in the ocean, and the island sank, and they left, and they came from the south north. They came in certain groups, which were 13 clans at the time, and a number of them got lost about the way. And they came north until the rain turned white, and then they turned east until the sky met the earth. And so we can say that's the Appalachian Mountains.
The British established the city of Charleston in 1670, but the southeastern region of the continent had been inhabited for thousands of years before that.
Different groups in the Southeast had very different kinds of adaptation. Some groups lived in very large towns, some groups lived in very small bands, foraging, others farmed. The larger societies in the Southeast tended to be in large communities, and some of these can be quite large, tens of thousands of people.
In the southeast Atlantic states of South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, there were three flexible but distinct environments to which the Native Americans adapted.
On the South Atlantic slope, there are certain kinds of environments that make it easy to make a living foraging. And while there are farming societies and foraging societies throughout that region, there are particular kinds of resources that are densest on the South Atlantic slope. In the same way, when you get beyond the fall line and into the Piedmont, there are certain kinds of resources that are most common there, and a certain scale of society that can be supported. As you keep moving up into higher and higher elevations, you end up with groups like the Cherokee, who are living in relatively small valleys, relatively narrow floodplains. They're farming, but they're also using a very broad range of resources which are simply unavailable on the South Atlantic slope, and vice versa.
As in other parts of the country, tribal distinctions in the Southeast were fluid and not always clearly delineated.
We tend to think of tribes as discrete units, as having boundaries and staying the same over time. They didn't. And groups like the Catawba represent groups that are named at a time of contact. Over time, that group is changing, becoming an ally of some groups, an enemy of other groups. Those alliances are shifting over time, and the actual group that constitutes the Catawba is changing over time, just as all the other groups are changing. The Native Americans of the Southeast are probably the most politically complex group in ancient North America. They accomplished an enormous amount that we've lost today.